Ever wonder how long it takes for a life to shatter? Mine took about 3 seconds, the time it took to read a single text message on my wife's phone. He's asleep. You can come over now. I stared at the screen, the blue light burning my eyes, my heart a cold, dead weight in my chest. The message was from Coach Dan, my son's baseball coach. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from. And what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. So our perfect life in Lincoln Park, Chicago, was a carefully constructed lie. From the outside, we were the dream. Me, a successful architect. My wife, Sarah, the stunning, charismatic PTA mom. Our 10-year-old son, Leo, our world. We lived in a beautiful brownstone just off Armitage Avenue. We had Sunday brunch at Summer House Santa Monica and spent autumn afternoons at the Lincoln Park Zoo. Perfect, except it wasn't. The cracks started small. Sarah began guarding her phone like it was a state secret. She had PTA meetings that ran late into the night and weekend charity events I was never invited to. When I'd ask, she'd give me this look, a mix of pity and annoyance, and say, "Don't you trust me, Mark?" It was a trap, and I walked into it every time. "Of course I do," I'd murmur, feeling like a fool. Then there was Coach Dan. He was one of those guys who peaked in high school and never left. A little too handsome, a little too charming. He'd put his hand on Sarah's back a little too long after practice and give her a smile that was meant for more than just a parent. I'd feel a prickle of unease, but I'd brush it off. I was just being jealous, right? A possessive husband? That's what Sarah called it once, laughing it off. But her eyes weren't laughing. The discovery wasn't a single explosion. It was a slow, agonizing burn. Credit card bill with a charge for a hotel near O'Haron, a night she was supposedly at her sister's. A floral scent on her clothes that wasn't her perfume, and then that text message, the one that confirmed my deepest fear. I didn't confront her, not yet. What? Something inside me snapped that night. The love, the trust, it all curdled into something cold and hard. I became a ghost in my own home. I watched them. Sarah would text under the dinner table, a sly smile on her face. Don would give me that smug, knowing look at Leo's games. They thought I was oblivious, weak. They were having the time of their lives, laughing at the clueless husband right in front of them. The humiliation was a physical pain. One evening, Sarah was getting ready for another PTA thing. She was wearing a new dress, one I'd never seen before. She looked beautiful, and it felt like a punch to the gut. "How do I look?" she asked, twirling in front of the mirror. "Like you're trying to impress someone," I said, my voice flat. The smile dropped from her face. "What is that supposed to mean?" she snapped. "It means you look great, honey." I backpedaled, the lie tasting like ash in my mouth. She rolled her eyes and left, leaving the scent of her perfume and betrayal hanging in the air. That was my breaking point. I went into our home office and just broke. I sobbed, not just for the betrayal, but for the man I used to be, the family I thought I had. The grief was a tidal wave. But as the sun rose over Lake Michigan, the grief receded, leaving behind a chilling clarity. I wasn't going to be a victim. I was going to be a strategist. My work as an architect taught me one thing. Every great structure is built on a solid foundation. Her web of lies was a house of cards, and I was going to find every weak point. I started documenting everything. I used recovery software to pull deleted texts and photos from our shared cloud account. Pictures of them at a bar on Rush Street, cozy in a booth. Texts detailing their meets, their inside jokes, their contempt for me. I placed a discreet audio recorder in her car. The conversations I captured were sickening. They talked about my money, my schedule, and their plans for a future together. Once the boring husband was out of the picture. The hardest part was Leo. I had to protect him. I consulted a divorce attorney, one of the best in Chicago. He built a case so airtight it was a fortress. The evidence was overwhelming. Infidelity, emotional manipulation. And using our son's activities as a cover for her affair, the lawyer advised me to wait for the perfect moment to strike. That moment came at the end of season baseball banquet. It was held at a fancy restaurant overlooking the Chicago River. All the parents were there, the whole community. Sarah was glowing, sitting at a table with Dan, laughing. They looked like the king and queen of the prom, untouchable. During the awards ceremony, I had arranged with the event coordinator to play a special tribute video for the team parents. I stood up, feigning emotion. I just wanted to thank everyone, I started, my voice steady, especially my wife Sarah. And of course, Coach Dan for their incredible dedication this season. They have formed a special bond. Sarah beamed, thinking this was her moment. Dan smirked. Then, the video started. It began with photos of the kids, cheers erupting. But then the screen flickered. A photo of Sarah and Dan kissing, taken from her own deleted files, filled the giant screen. Then another, and another. The room fell silent. Then the audio from the car recorder began to play. Sarah's voice clear as a bell, laughing with Dan. Mark is so clueless. He actually believes I'm at a charity meeting right now. Dan's voice followed. Don't worry, babe. Soon it'll just be you, me, and his money. The silence in the room was deafening. Every eye was on them. Sarah's face went from shock to horror to pale white. Dan looked like a trapped animal. I watched, my heart a cold, steady drum. I felt nothing, no satisfaction, no joy. Just a vast, quiet emptiness. The aftermath was swift and brutal. Dan was fired immediately and became a social pariah. Sarah was served divorce papers the next morning. The evidence was undeniable. She lost everything. Its custody of Leo, her claim to my assets, her friends, her reputation. It all vanished. The beautiful life she had betrayed me for was gone. Now, our brownstone is quiet. Leo is with me, and we're finding our way back to normal. Sometimes, late at night, I stand by the window and look out at the Chicago skyline, the city lights glittering like scattered jewels. The life I had is a ghost that haunts these rooms. I took my revenge. I won. I destroyed her. But I still check her empty side of the bed every morning. The end.